Hello, Dutch football fans all over the world. It's time for more Football-Oranje. We're doing a match preview of the Bosnia game now in the Nations League. We know that you may have missed our post-match stream after the Hungary game, but we are, of course, going to talk about the 4-0 win here and look ahead to another Nations League game, the last one of the groups. Mike, Abdul, how are you both? I bet you really enjoyed the game of the day. We had no stream as I didn't actually watch the game live. I wasn't around, but I'm back around now to talk about it. I've seen bits of the game, but I know you two watched the whole thing and smiles all round.
Yeah, well, I'm so happy that we qualified to the second round. We had some doubts after the 1-1 with Hungary. We were afraid that we'd struggle this match, but this is probably the best match Orania played for this year, 2024. It's definitely the best match. It was very enjoyable. We played attacking from the first minute till the last minute of the match, scoring 4 goals. We had 2 chances where the ball hit the crossbar and at least 5 serious chances. It could have been a lot more than 4-0 actually, if we could have invested the chances we had. But again, it's a great win. Good to see some players back. It was great to see Frankie de Jong back. We saw how important he is in Orania. He definitely cannot be replaced by any other player. Just a great night, really. I was really happy to win and to qualify. Now the match against Bosnia, we can just watch it and relax, really.
Yeah, it was a good night. It was. I think the second half, especially, I think the second half for me was probably the best I've seen Netherlands play in a long time. They totally controlled the game. The first half, it's a strange one. It's a strange game in the first half, just because of what happened on the Hungary bench. And actually before that, so that opening 7-8 minutes, Hungary had one was offside, but the other one wasn't. They had 2 massive chances to score. Hungary should have been ahead by the time that all the things happened on the Hungary bench, and then obviously the penalty sort of dictated before the game of that double hit of, or you losing one of your coaches to. Thankfully, he's fine now, but then they are noticing the handball in the box, and then the penalty straight away sort of, I think, eased any nerves for Netherlands. And then from that point, Hungary had a couple of chances, but most of the time it was pretty dominant from the Netherlands. And that was because of the impact that Frankie de Jong had. I think that he was by far the best player on the pitch. I think there is still some negatives in terms of there's a lot of space for teams to counter into. So teams are going to get a lot of chances if they're better than Hungary. And, when they come up against whoever they play in the quarterfinals, if they leave those gaps, it's going to be exposed. And also, this should have been, by the end, 6 or 7-0. The amount of chances that came and went and got missed, or just bad touches around the box, or just wrong decisions. I still don't think the attack is 100% nailed on. I don't think Weghorst had a great game. I don't think Malen had a great game. Gakpo was probably the best out of 3. But yeah, I think that Koeman still has some decisions to make up front in terms of who plays the striker and who plays his right wing, because I don't think either of them really did themselves justice.
Sure, we'll get into some of those talking points then throughout this show. And a shout out to everyone that watched the last match preview. We had some really kind comments, and we also really enjoy your company over these international breaks. So we hope you enjoy these streams, these previews, whatever they are. And keep supporting us as well, giving us likes on the videos, keep helping us grow. So people were really interested in our discussions on the squad choices in the Hungary match preview, and seeing some of them materialize for better or worse was really interesting. For example, having Weghorst start, seeing Gravenberch start next to de Jong, and choice just that. One that I feel good about, by the way, is that Van Hecker. I think before he was called up properly, I was calling for him to come in and have an impact, even though we had it's abundance of centre backs. So I feel good about that shout. Did he play well? And do you think this is something that he can nail down, or do you think that once all of our centre backs become fit again, Van Heck is back out the side?
Well, to be honest, the defense line yesterday wasn't really tested at all. to say that this guy played good or this guy played bad. Despite the few chances Hungary had, as Mike said in the beginning of the match. Other than that, we did not say anything. We did not see anything from Hungary. They did not produce anything, or maybe we didn't give them any chance to produce anything. So I cannot really judge Van Hecke yesterday, but the passes he made, his movement was good. I'm sure he's a good player. I'm sure he can fit easily in the squad. So this is not really a problem at all. About Weghorst, yes, we all were surprised yesterday for him to be a starter. Unfortunately, we have a world-class player in almost every position except for a striker. We don't really have a world-class striker. I really appreciate all the efforts Weghorst was making yesterday, but he is limited. He's not really a world class, and this is the problem we were facing, and that's why we wasted so many chances yesterday. In my opinion, other than that, everything was just great, really.
Yeah, I think for Van Hecke, I think you could forgive him for being nervy at the start. It was him that gave Hungary their second massive chance. He got robbed of the ball, and Szoboszlai just basically had a free run at goal. But in the end, it didn't matter. They didn't score. And then after that, I think he grew into the game. And what I liked about him was he wasn't just, when you see Stefan de Vrij and Van Dijk, it's always they turn and pass it to each other for about 20 minutes, and it gets really boring. There was none of that in this game. At points Van Hecke was actually running forward and joining in the attack. There was a couple of times where he was just standing outside the box. So that was great to see. So it seemed like he was comfortable in breaking the lines and then getting forward when he could. So that was nice to see. And another one that was nice to see was Timber being at left back as well. I think that him being there was a calm, pair of hands on that position, and he got forward when he could as well. So yeah, I think that the three players that kind of came into the side, Frenkie de Jong, Van Hecke, and Timber from previous squads, I think they all did well. And I think that going forward, I think Van Hecke and Timber are both really good options for those two positions. I can't see, De Ligt isn't going to replace Van Hecke. De Vrij is getting older. So Van Hecke has a chance, if he keeps playing like he is now, to cement that position, because there's not really anyone else to really come in there, because Van de Ven's more of a left-hand sided player, and if Van Dijk's going to keep playing there, then he's got free reign for his position.
Interesting. And in midfield we had De Jong and Gravenberch together with Reinders for further ahead. If you look further ahead then to the Nations League latter stages, if people are fit, what does that midfield three look like? Is it going to be those three? Does Kurt Miners come in and become a starter? To be honest, I actually struggle with these kinds of debates, because I think you need to have options and have people that can step in and play whenever. But as in terms of putting your best foot forward in like a final, let's say, what does that three look like in midfield? How do you get that balance right?
The three looked amazing yesterday. It feels like Frenkie de Jong was completing the missing piece in the puzzle of the midfield, really. He worked very well with the Gravenberch and Reinders. The passes they made between each other was really nice. But as I mentioned before, there will be a very serious competition in the midfield when Schouten is back. Quinten Timber keeps playing better with Feyenoord. I think he will also be selected. We will have at least 7 or 8 midfielders that can compete for this position, but I think Frenkie de Jong will definitely be a starter. If he continues playing the way he's playing, as I said, he cannot be replaced by any other midfielder. But the three yesterday, they were amazing together, and maybe Koeman will stick to the three in the World Cup qualifier, and he will not do that in the match against Bosnia, since Frankie mentioned that he's not going to play this match. But I think he will use the same three during the World Cup qualifiers.
Yeah, I think that the three of them that played yesterday have earned the right to start the next game, to start the next competitive game.
Yeah.
And then Koeman is one option to have off the bench, and that's an amazing option to be able to bring on, because when he came on, he added something extra. So yeah, it's great to see these options everyone's having when you've got Shouting back, when you got Xavi Simons back, you've got so many midfield options that you have in there. But I think the three that started yesterday, the three that deserve to start going forward. And to be honest, I was very surprised at how good Frankie de Jong was yesterday. You heard mixed reports from Barcelona saying that he's not really back to his best. He plays sometimes good, sometimes really bad. But I thought he was excellent. The way he just drove forward with the ball, his little flicks and tricks. Sometimes he was stepping over the ball so it goes somewhere else. It's just stuff that you don't see when he's not there. Everything when he was missing was just so basic, and it was all just sideways passes. But with Frankie de Jong in there, there's just so much more progression to the front. That's what he does. He brings the ball from the back to the front. He always demands the ball. He always carries it forward. And I'm amazed that there's people out there that don't rate him as a player. I'm amazed because yesterday he was fantastic. He was absolutely fantastic.
Yes, I agree.
I think what he needs now is something where it's like to his name. If they say he became a World Cup winner, I think that just adds a lot of weight then to what he can achieve.
Yeah, and he said in the post-match game, because he gave an interview afterwards where he said that he still feels a little pain when he plays, and he needs to get used to being back to being fearless on the pitch, because he still plays a little bit of fear that something might happen. But I didn't see that when he was playing. When he was playing, he was getting tackled pretty hard. There's a few tackles where he was getting taken down. He just got back up straight away, gone with it. Next drive and run did exactly the same. So we're not seeing that fear on the pitch. But obviously in his head, he thinks right now he's not playing at his best, and it's still going to take him a lot of time to get there. So if there's a level up above this from Frankie de Jong, then yeah, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
Now, I want to talk about the front three, and I want to talk about Ronald Koeman. A 4-0 win was very good, very convincing. But does part of you wonder, did we play well because Hungary played bad because of the circumstances off the pitch? Did Koeman, maybe on the other hand, set the team up really well? And given that his front three is the front three that it is, it was Gakpo, Weghorst and Marlon. So these aren't... if you look at the midfield three, for example, they're not players really in form or getting minutes every single week for their team necessarily, not starting, say, and not always scoring loads of goals. So how do you view that? I mean, we have just won 4-0, but how do you reflect upon it in the sort of bigger picture?
Well, the question of whether Hungary played bad or we played good, I think Hungary tried to play the same way they played in Hungary. They tried to attack in the beginning, hoping they could score a goal to make the match more difficult. They failed, and then they started defending. After we scored goals, they did try to attack, but we did not give them a chance at all. So I think it's Holland who played better, not Hungary played bad. We did not give them a chance to play better, actually. It was a complete domination. And this is the logical result. If you consider the names we have in Oranje and the names they have in Hungary, it's a very, very expected result when we are playing our best football.
Yeah, it's hypothetical, but we'll never know what would have happened if the game just continued after that first 8 minutes. You don't know what happened with the mindset of players, but I wouldn't want to say that as an excuse for Hungary then playing badly, because he still had a couple of chances. I mean, there's a Szoboszlai header that was straight at Verbruggen. So you can't really blame what happened on the bench for Hungary then conceding a penalty, then going on to lose 4-0, because in the end it could have been 7 or 8. So I think that obviously the breaking the play at the start helped the Netherlands. It helped them probably reshape, have a little bit of conversations. Koeman could probably talk to some of the players to say, look, we need to play better. But yeah, I think that the second half, as I say, that's the best I've seen the Netherlands play in ages. And I guess you got to say that Koeman got it right in terms of the way they played, the setup. But there's still things that could be better. And I want to see what Koeman's going to do going forward to take it to the next level, where we're going to be able to compete with the France, the Spains, the Italy's, because this squad is good enough. And we see it when they can easily dominate a team with 80% possession, win 4-0, but we don't see it against big teams. He's yet to beat one of the big teams, so we need to see that from Koeman before we can say, oh, now he's getting it, now he's got it right. Because we could play Germany next week, for instance, and then get beat again, and then everything's doom and gloom again. So yeah, we need to see what it's like against one of the tougher nations, and luckily we've got the quarterfinals to come, so we'll see us against a very, very good side in those quarterfinals. So, yeah, I'm excited to see how they do in that. I hope we don't have a tough side in the World Cup draw. I hope that that's easy enough. But yeah, in the quarterfinals of Nations League, we're going to get some big nation, and we're going to have to play very, very well.
Yeah, that's true. And I think now is a good dividing line, if you like, from talking about the severity of the Netherlands-Hungary game to now the relaxed nature of playing Bosnia. So there's very little riding on this game. Therefore, you would expect we'll see some changes and some different players play, or will Koeman want to continue most of the team that played the Hungary game, minus De Jong, for example, and build in that rhythm into the side and confidence?
Well, yesterday all the players Koeman brought from the substitution line, they played well actually. They seemed very hungry and they seemed playing their best. Koop Miners came in, he scored the goal and he hit the crossbar. Uh, Almost all the players that came in yesterday played good. So I think Koeman might be trying some new names in the team. I don't think he's going to try the same players. Maybe he's going to rest some of them since this is the last match for Oranje until March. We don't have any football games, and this match is and this group is pretty much sealed. Bosnia is not at its best right now. The team lost 7-0 to Germany. It's in the bottom of the table. They are already relegated. So maybe Koeman will try new players. He might try with the Koop Miners, for example, Quinton Timber. We will see who's going to select, but I do think he's going to rest some players. I'll be surprised if I see Van Dijk starting, for example, or Dumfries. He might give Frimpong a chance. At least I hope so. Frimpong, when he came in yesterday, he played very well. He had an assist as well. So maybe he will try some new names. Maybe he will try a new combination up front, putting, for example, Frimpong, Broby, and Noah Lang, for example.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this game's a dead rubber. There's nothing riding on it. Like, Netherlands can't get first. They can't get to third. So, yeah, Koeman's got a chance to experiment. And I'm actually quite excited because it means that you could see Noah Lang starting. You could see Jeremy Frimpong starting. And I want to see what they can do. Frankie de Jong is not going to play this game. I'd be amazed if he did. I'd be amazed if Koop Miners plays just because he's only just come back from injury as well. So I don't really see Juventus being happy if he plays in a dead rubber against Bosnia. He actually sat out training today apparently as well. So yeah, I'd be amazed. Tomorrow we might hear about a couple of dropouts because there is actually 2 extra spots in the squad. So Justin Kluivert and Xerxes didn't even make the match day squad. So that means that there is actually a couple of spots there that could drop out. And Frankie de Jong said he'll travel with the squad, but whether he's actually in the match day squad will be another thing. And I'd be surprised if you saw Van Dijk and Koop Miners as well. So yeah, it's a chance. It's a chance for players like Rensch, Hato to start. In the midfield, you could see Justin Kluivert. You could see him at number 10. You could see Noah Lang starting, Frimpong on right wing, and Broby for the middle. So yeah, it's an exciting chance to see some of the players that are eager to prove themselves, especially Noah Lang, because I thought Noah Lang was excellent when he came on against Hungary. He was running at the defence, terrified them, and he actually came close to scoring a couple of times. The keeper made a couple of good saves. So yeah, I'm excited to see what he could do from the start, because I don't think Gakpo had his best game. I don't think that Gakpo is droppable, but whether Gakpo becomes an option for the middle of the attack, if the striker role doesn't really get sorted, and then you could play Noah Lang, because when Noah Lang's on form, he's frightening. He frightens defences. So yeah, it's good to see him back as well.
Yeah, we just need a bit of pace in that front three. And Milo could bring it at times, but maybe isn't clinical enough. Frimpong just has that right wing back nature about him, and he's not that right winger. Whereas Noah Lang, that's the pace in the right area where we need it. And I still think there's room for Cody to come back into the 10 position, like Van Gaal did when he first tried him there. That might take something away from the midfield without Reinders there, but I'd like to see that again. And yeah, Broby, bring him in. Midfield, we could see Viva perhaps play, and a chance for Harto again to show that he could be the left back. But yeah, a nice opportunity here to see some different things, not only players but also tactically.
Well, Hato played well yesterday when he came in. Noah Lang played well when he came in. Almost every player from the substitution line came in and played well. So yeah, I think Weaver can be a starter tomorrow. Maybe Weaver. I don't know if Timber can be also a starter. Cook Miners, okay, he just came from injury, but maybe he will play the first half only. We really need to try some other names. They are all good with their clubs. So it's a chance for Koeman to try these names and to see the combination, especially the front line. We always struggle in scoring. Maybe, he tries different combination and it will work if he tries it.
And what do you make of the opposition then? Bosnia coming to play in Netherlands again after losing 5-2 in the Netherlands. It's now their turn to play at home, and after an absolute thrashing from Germany. I mean, do we expect anything other than a Netherlands win at this point? But what I'm saying is, as terms of opposition goes in Group A, it's a big gap, isn't there, between the top two teams and the bottom two teams, really, in this division.
Yeah, plus, I don't think there will be home advantage for Bosnia tomorrow. I don't think the fans will attend with a big number. Everything is set. It's just a game for them to finish their campaign. It's also a game for us to finish our campaign, but we need to try some new players. Oranje has been through a lot this year with so many injuries, so we need to be ready, with all the possible players.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the team that played against Germany, and you've got Tahirovic, who we know from Ajax, Kulinovic, the Heracles striker.
Yeah, I chose him to be on the preview image of this podcast. It's like, it's another player we know from the Netherlands, but he plays for Heracles.
Yeah, and Edin Dzeko didn't even come off the bench, so I don't know if it's because it's not fair if he just doesn't play for them anymore. So this isn't the the Bosnia side that we're used to from like 5-6 years ago, where they were qualifying for tournaments or had some good wins. This is a team obviously in transition, looking for some new players and going to the younger generation. So if it's the same sort of lineup that plays against us that played against Germany, we've got to win. I know there's nothing on the game; it doesn't really matter. But in terms of confidence on Koeman, that we're on the right track. Looking at that squad, it's a team that we need to beat. And yeah, even if he does make a lot of changes, it still should be too good for this Bosnia side, because their confidence is going to be absolutely shattered after being beaten 7-0. So yeah, I don't want to go ahead and say we're going to win this one easily, but if it's something like 2-0, 2-1, I'd be happy with that. As long as we get away with a win, that's the main thing.
So is that your prediction then, stamped into the ground? Abdul, it's your turn.
Well, as Mike said, we have to win for the sake of FIFA ranking. Of course, losing to Bosnia can hurt our position in the FIFA ranking. We need to keep it in the top 10. Any win will make me happy, but I'll be happier if we hold a clean sheet. We don't concede any goals, and I believe 3-0 is pretty much a logical result. Because if we score maybe 2 or 3 goals, the team just might kill the match, and just the players just might want it to end, so we will not concede any injuries. So I would predict 3-0.
I also want to predict 3-0 the Netherlands. I think that as the game goes on, if the Dutch are in a commanding lead, it could lead to a second or third goal, maybe even more if they're feeling hungry. And a goal for Brian Brobby would be nice as well after it starts the season.
Oh yes,
this is someone that is still that future of this side, and Koeman is likely playing against Germany when we would have, say, less attacking play. Brobby's hold-up play is important then. And looking ahead to Nations League, like last 8, you then think, well, Brobby will be the main man, right, to lead the line and create those chances. So his form throughout this season is going to be pretty important when it comes to his latter stages, because that strike is just the last thing we need.
Well, he scored a goal the last match he played with Ajax in the Europa League. It was a very important goal for him. He needs to score for Oranje, so hopefully he gets the chance tomorrow, because definitely we're going to face a very tough opponent in the quarterfinal. It's either going to be France, Italy, Portugal or Spain. So all opponents are strong. We need a very good striker, and hopefully he's going to start with Oranje from beating Bosnia and scoring. It will boost his confidence big time.
Yeah. I think one thing we need to discuss before we drop off is the biggest issue with the game yesterday was, and it was all over social media, the absolute hammering he was getting, but Weghorst's celebration just after the penalty. Now, I can understand both sides of it. Hungary obviously in a bad point. They've just watched something. The bench looked horrified at what was going on, even after he'd been taken to the hospital, the Alton shell shock. But the players said we're carrying on, and the Netherlands players were told that the person was fine and he was on his way to the hospital for further checks. So to me, at that point, you can understand that the football's back on. So if you score a goal, you're going to celebrate it. But I can also understand that if the stadium's in a hush because they just watched somebody have a seizure and stuff like that, and then he scores and then he's over enthusiastically celebrating. I can see how that rubs up Hungary the wrong way. But yeah, I'd be interested in hearing your guys' thoughts on it because he's been getting absolutely pelters on social media. But Ronald Koeman came out and said that anyone that uses social media is brainless. So, you can see it from both sides.
Yeah, I think
pretty brainless, then, isn't it?
I think people were harsh on Weghorst yesterday. Of course, I feel bad for the guy. I really hope he gets well soon. The guy from the Hungarian staff. But Weghorst, maybe he got carried away with the goal. He knew the pressure of this match that we had to win. Scoring a goal made things easier after that. So maybe that's why he celebrated. But he apologized as well after the match for celebrating this way. I read his statement. So I think it should be okay now.
I'm on the other side of the fence. I think that he shouldn't have done what he did. And I think you can celebrate the goal maybe with your teammates in a moment of togetherness, given the frightful nature of what had just happened. But I did see a celebration. I did think it was over the top. Yeah. Mainly because it simply happened at the first kicking back in play after. Like, it's a time for it. And I think had we had no goals until, say, after half time, the players have heard that this guy's still okay. And then 70th minute, maybe there's a penalty and it's a high pressure moment. And then it's 1-0. I think then it's a time for it. But right then, didn't feel right. And yeah, I did see some of the backlash you got as well. I thought that was also over the top. I thought that was also a bit unfair on him. I wouldn't go as far as a disgusting sort of celebration or anything like that, but it felt a bit distasteful in that moment. I get why he was happy. It's a high pressure moment, but you've got to have a bit of sensitivity, haven't you, for what's just happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's people saying that Koeman was going to haul him off the field and substitute straight afterwards. That was never going to happen. But yeah, I think Weghorst, we know, maybe Hungary fans don't see him week in, week out, playing for his club size and don't watch him for Netherlands. But the Netherlands national team is basically his life. He loves playing for the Netherlands national team. So every single time he scores, he's going to celebrate because this is something that he absolutely loves. And you saw, the 2 goals he scored in the semi-final against Argentina as well, the way he celebrated those, quarterfinal. But yeah, he's just a very, very passionate guy. But I think that some of the backlash he got on social media was a bit too far. Even Ajax had to delete tweets about him and stuff like that because they were coming after everything that said of Weghorst. But yeah, he did the right thing afterwards and he apologised. So hopefully that's it. It's put to bed now because you don't want to see his reputation forever being tarnished just because he celebrated a goal that he scored. It wasn't like he celebrated in front of the guy in his hospital bed. It's just he was passionate in front of the home crowd. But yeah, I can see why Hungary fans were a little bit annoyed. But then attacking him just makes it just as bad because you're just attacking somebody on social media. It's a strange situation to be in a football game. But yeah, who are we to say? Because we're not pro footballers. We don't go through the pressure of what Weghorst has to go through.
Yeah, absolutely. There was once that RK save against Ajax when the goalkeeper Varson had like collapsed and he had a head injury, didn't he? And then after that, Ajax players, all the players off the pitch, they all went to dressing rooms, and then like 10 minutes later, the Ajax players came back out and started warming up, and it was just like the wrong moment to do that. And then I think the game got called off completely. But I think there's that thing, isn't it? Like, well, why would the Ajax players go out on the pitch when it's the other team that have had the issue? The other players are not on the pitch, the other team. So why did they come out at that moment? It's just that timing, isn't it? Yeah. I think what the three of us have said is pretty well rounded for this situation as a whole, and one where I think if people are listening, we'll be interested in what you think on this as well, whatever your opinion is, as well as the score of this game coming up against Bosnia, but also your thoughts against Hungary game. Yeah, I apologize, of course, we didn't do the post-match stream after the last game, but this one is all encompassing. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below on YouTube. And anything else, you two, before we head off?
Well, it was a very tough year for Orania. It was very sad the way we were eliminated by England in Euro 2024. We struggled with so many injuries. We did not have a very good campaign in Euro. Also, we made it to the semi-final for the first time in 20 years, but we always questioned the performance, and we had the excuse that we had so many injuries. But after that, in the Nations League, we also struggled. We did not play well in any match, even the first one against Bosnia. Winning 5-2, conceding 2 goals, with all respect to Bosnia, wasn't really something good. But finally, we had a good final match in the group, the decisive match. We were there, and we proved ourselves, winning 4-0. It was really good. So now we can just enjoy the match against Bosnia, and hopefully we don't get any injuries for the next year. We have a very, very big year coming ahead of us. The quarterfinal of the Nations League, the World Cup campaign, the World Cup qualifier campaign, which the draw will take place in less than a month from now. So wish the best for Orania, really.
Yeah, and we're going to look forward to the future, because it's not just Netherlands who've been playing, or just the main team. It's been under 19s are in Euro qualifying. They missed the last Euros, the under 19s, so it's important to get back there. And they qualified for the next round of qualifiers by topping their group. They beat Ukraine 2-1 and they beat Kazakhstan 2-0. They've still got one more game to come, but they've already sealed basically their progression to the elite round, so that's good. Looks like a good side with Tycho Land, Keith Smith in it, so there's some good interesting players. Redmond, who just made his debut for Feyenoord, in there, so some good players. Under 18s beat France in a friendly, and Shane Kluivert scored the only goal, so another Kluivert coming through, plays for Barcelona. And under 21s battled back for a 3-3 draw the other day, and they've actually played England in the next couple of days, so yeah, friendly game under 21s against England, so that'll be interesting to watch, to see how they cope against them.
Thanks for that, Mike. Yeah, people on social media seem to be following these younger teams again with piqued interest, probably because we want to see a striker come through still after so many years of waiting.
Yeah, well, the under 21 strikers, Noah Ohio, can't get on the field for Utrecht at the moment, so that's a bit worrying. And then you go further down, under 19s have got 2 or 3 who are promising, and then you've got Shaquille Van Persie, who's just under 18, so there's a few coming through, but none knocking on the door at the moment, so it might be a few years before we see one from the youth sides.
Yeah, I think it will be. Okay, guys, we'll be back on the post-match stream for the Bosnia game for sure, where we can get everyone's thoughts of the past 2 games, and looking at sort of celebrating a year really of 2024. It hasn't been terrible for the Netherlands for sure, but one where we still want improvement, still want it to be better next year and the year after that. But thanks, Mike. Thanks, Abdul. And thank everybody for listening, wherever you are. And yeah, same as usual, give us a like and comment down below what you've been thinking. See you soon.